So, here we are, a few days later after the release of Whole Lotta Red, and we've seen the aftermath play out. An album that was highly anticipated and looked forward to has released to total disaster. It's getting clowned left and right on Twitter, Instagram, and by critics, which is usually normal for a Carti album. Also, Carti's character is being criticized as well, with Iggy Azalea releasing information on how he's been a deadbeat to his kids, which, to be honest, with a guy like Carti, it's not hard to see. What was supposed to be Carti's defining moment, maybe his magnum opus even, something to earn him legendary status or get him closer at least, has backfired in his face. All this backlash showed a lot about how you gotta carry yourself as an artist and how power and prestige is so fickle. You always gotta be on your toes, like you're one step from death's door, which you usually are. And to not get lazy. I mean, you have to always be constantly improving or you're going backwards. The minute you get too comfortable or too cocky, you start slipping and you can get knocked off that easily. Carti isn't the only one to have had this happen to him though. Chance is the other famous example, at least for this year. Man, this year's been generous with its L's, giving it to everybody, right? Let's go ahead and start looking at these two artists and what their catastrophic situations show about the crazy industry that is the music industry and the entertainment industry as a whole. There's a famous Greek myth that a lot of us know. Most people have heard it. This myth is the myth of Icarus. Icarus was the son of a brilliant inventor and craftsman called Daedalus. Daedalus and Icarus were trapped in a labyrinth, and Daedalus invented wings for them to be able to fly out. Before they both go out, Daedalus warns Icarus not to fly too low to the ocean, or else the wings will get damp and they'll fall off, or too close to the sun, or else the wings will have the wax that's on them melt off and he'll fall to his death. Icarus listens at first, or at least he shows that he's listening. But as soon as they go out, Icarus starts disobeying. The delight and sense of flight mesmerizes him so much he can't help but go higher and higher and higher as he wants to experience more and more. His father tries to tell him to chill, but Icarus doesn't listen. Icarus flies closer and closer to the sun. The wax begins to melt off the wings, and in the end, his wings lose their functionality and Icarus falls to his death, and his dad can do nothing but stare. A sad story, but one with a powerful lesson about hubris and getting too cocky. And when you look at a lot of celebrities, especially rappers, you see this scenario play out again and again. Starting off with Chance. His career started out a few years back. As soon as Chance started coming out with projects, he was immediately met with praise and love. Very few criticisms were lobbied at him, and if they were so few and small that barely anybody ever noticed. Plus, Chance carried such a nice guy, family man, lovable character, golden boy type of demeanor with him that if you did criticize him, you'd be easily called a hater or crazy. Like, some people did it, like when Needle Drop gave his record a review that wasn't the most stellar, even though he did like it. And when Yassine pointed out some of Chance's flaws, people were coming at them like they were calling Chance Hitler. Chance was loved from left and right, and musically he was pretty great. Those first two records were classic for that generation and era of hip-hop. Chance was also a star, and he was making a way for the independent cause. Chance was the golden boy who was paving the way for the independent grind and artists and bringing more power to the artist even though he wasn't really 100% independent. People loved him for that, and this was the guise he was marooning under. Then, with the release of Coloring Book, Chance became a Christian man. Beforehand, he was a rapper talking about drugs, partying, but he did it in a sweetheart, reflective sort of way that got a lot of people liking his music, me included. I did a video analyzing one of his best songs, period, which came off the Acid Rap album, which is Acid Rain. So much thought, somberness, beauty, and melancholy, and truth were spit on that record. It really was Chance at the height of his prime. When Coloring Book came out, Chance had made the transition to being a Christian guy, and people didn't mind this because he didn't come off as preachy, and the progression and evolution of character was something people could get behind. Plus, the music was pretty fire too. He was also getting praise from other artists and love from people like Beyonce. Little did most people know, though, that behind the scenes, Chance wasn't exactly what he was portraying himself to be. Behind the scenes, Chance was getting more and more distracted, and he wasn't independent the way his image might have made you think he was. And I won't take leaps and talk about his character, but it's insinuated that it wasn't as perfect as it was being presented. Riding this high, Chance probably felt like he was untouchable. Oh, and how could I forget? He was getting married to the love of his life. This was probably the best time of Chance's life so far, and there was a new kid on the way too. God damn, this man was blessed. He did put in the work to get there, but he was obviously afforded a lot of perks that most people don't have. A good background, with his dad working on Obama's campaign, and a great manager, amongst a myriad of other things. You add all these things together, and you have a recipe for success, and eventually a light so bright it's bound to blind someone. And that is what happened to Chance. He got blinded. He started slacking, abandoning what got him there, ignoring his manager when he told him to stop, and even started showing some nasty colors on Twitter when he went at fans, and took the side of social justice people even when they were wrong. All this happened leading up to his album creation and release of The Big Day. It sold well, which was because of the name and the expectation, but was poorly received by both critics and fans. And now, in this year, the manager is suing Chance after the fallout. Chance was already in the hot seat after releasing a poor album, but now it's even worse with this news coming out. And this is Chance possibly falling because he got too close to the sun. At the very least, the wax is starting to melt off those wings. Carti had similar things happen to him, but I feel like it was more clear that Carti was a person who wasn't the most moral based off some past behavior and what he says in his songs. I mean, the guy talks about guns, violence, slapping bitches like he said on RIP, doing drugs, fucking other niggas' broads, and a bunch of other shit. Stuff like that isn't gonna make you a candidate for the best boy of the year. Regardless, with Carti, his music was on point, and he's not the first person to be like this or even rap about stuff like this. So it was whatever. When Carti released his self-titled album, it was well received, and it aged quite well too, and Dilate did the same thing. Carti had been loved and really started growing his fanbase around this time. These leaks were well received, like Kid Cudi becoming a sleeper hit. All of this basically was telling Carti that he could do no wrong. I mean, think about it. What was going on in his head? He accidentally released a song and it became a hit by itself, without anybody trying or pushing it. This pride told him that he could do no wrong, that no matter what he put out, people would like it. All of this most likely went to his head, and Carti seeing how much people wanted him to release his album definitely added to it all. Now, when he finally released it, it was to mediocre reception, and some people may say this album will age well like Carti's last projects did, but I'm just not so sure about that. It's clear Carti really didn't try on this project. Both artists who were at the height of their careers are in the hot seat now. I'm not going to say that their career is lost and done for. They still have chances to redeem themselves, and if they do, only time will tell. Both these artists have suffered these L's because of their ego and hubris. Like Icarus, they've flown too close to the sun and are paying dearly for it. Them getting the wings was their career taken off. Rappers flying too low to the ocean can be seen when rappers don't try and their careers don't take off, or they fall off because they aren't putting in enough effort. When they fly too high to the sun, that can be seen as them being mesmerized by the fame and all the luxuries and distractions it brings. And when Daedalus is warning Icarus, that can be seen as the fans warning them about their bad behavior or telling them what they want, only to be ignored. The wax melting off and them falling is when their career gets a major blow like this, or they've fallen off completely. If anything, this is the good we can draw from these two situations, because it most likely won't come from the music, depending on who you are. Hopefully, these two learn from this and do better next time, and other up-and-coming artists can learn from this and make sure not to make the same mistakes when they get into their situations.
Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more content and analyses just like this. Be safe, loving, and prosperous. Peace.